Good evening and welcome to Sunset News. Now, in this half hour, we bring you the latest news, stories from the community, economic indicators, tomorrow's weather and sports. I am Glenn Rashipura and I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast. Now, in the news tonight, the past long Independence weekend again brought numerous acts of violence with it. According to the Namibian Police Weekend Report, 4 murders and 4 attempted murders were reported. Now, one of the victims was a 51-year-old lady who was raped and subsequently murdered by 27-year-old men. Also, an 18-year-old was reportedly stabbed in the neck by an unknown perpetrator in the north of the country. The victim died on the spot. Now, the Environment and Tourism Ministry has expressed dismay by comments made by Ombudsman Basilius Ndakuyuka with regards to human-wildlife conflict in Namibia. Now, Ministry spokesperson Romeo Muyunda said it is particularly disappointing that the ministry was never approached by the Office of the Ombudsman to get a full understanding of the matter. In a recent statement, Ndakuyuka blasted government for concentrating on theory conservation and prioritizing tourism ahead of local people's lives, while not implementing concrete measures to mitigate human-wildlife conflict in the Bambwata National Park. Now, Professor Frednard Gideon insists that the Namibia University of Science and Technology NUST decision to appoint Dr. Harold Nwabab as its vice-chancellor was unlawful, unreasonable, and irrational. Gideon's lawyer, Sisa Namanje, told the High Court yesterday that Gideon came well ahead of Nwabab, and on top of this, Gideon came with 8 years of senior-level experience, while Nwabab had only 6 years' experience. Now, Namanje pointed out that the advertisement for the post made it clear that it will be an advantage for the candidate to have a professional rank, which Nwabab does not have. Gideon is asking the court to order that the decision to appoint Nwabab be reversed. Now, Judge George Coleman ruled in a judgment in the High Court in Windhoek that the arrest and detention of a homeless man of the Swakopmund in February 2019 was unlawful. He ordered the Ministry of Safety and Security to compensate Gregory Gilbert Nwabab for the damages he suffered through his arrest and subsequent detention. Now, Nwabab was represented by Mr. A.D. Ellis of Ellis Attorneys in Swakopmund and Advocate Jack Gerber from South Africa. Ellis told Republican his client is in the process of opening a bank account, but since he does not have an ID, it is a problem. Now, lifelike dolls or soft toy animals can have great benefits for some people with dementia, particularly in the later stages. They can promote feelings of relaxations and pleasure and are considered a form of therapy, not merely playing with a toy. Frail Care in the Henties Bay has introduced dolls to their 24 dementia patients 2 years ago with very positive outcomes. Now, during an interview conducted by the team of the morning show, Africa Good Morning, the international environmentalist and activist Andy George Gio explained the huge concern harbored by environmentalists at large who see the gas and oil industry turning towards Africa as its last frontier. He and his peers are concerned about the fact that the world has a long list of previous environmental damages caused and left behind by the international industry, with Africa being fortunate enough to still have a functioning fauna and flora, and with that being left with a unique heritage, it would seem downright irresponsible to turn towards and invest in what he described as dirty technology of the 19th and 20th century, instead of investing in renewable energy and thus become a leader in technology instead of a follower. The picture shows the destroyed environment in the Niger Delta. Now, up next, we'll be taking a look at Community Talk with NAMCO officially opening its 10th service station in Swakopmund. See you after this short break. Thank you for staying with Sunset News. Now let's take a look at our community talk. Now, Namco officially opened its 10th service station at Swakopmund at a cost of about 13 million Namibian dollars last week. Now, the pit stop, situated just north of Ocean View and along the road of Handys Bay, consists of a service station with 6 pumps and old clever and least first ever Pick and Pay Namibia Express. Adam Hartman was there. Let's have a look.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll check it now.
How are you?
Fine, how are you, sir?
What's your name?
My name is John.
John?
Yes.
Are you a petrol attendant here?
Yes.
How does it feel to be part of a new Namco service station?
No, it feels very good and it's a pleasure for me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready to help me?
I'm very ready.
Adam Hartman here for Irungu 24/7. I am here at the Namco pit stop service station on the edge of Ocean View, Swakopmund, along the road that leads to Handys Bay. It is one of more than 30 service stations that will be opened across the country by the Namibian Petroleum Corporation.
Welcome to the Namco Pit Stop Service Station Pick and Pay Express. As you can see, this is it looks beautiful view, but we are expecting many houses to come up here. This town will be moving out. This service station will be eventually will be in the center again or on the outskirts of town. So we're actually expecting a serious great growth in this service station. People don't want to spend a long time at service stations. They want to stop, they want to go. And that's what we're trying to make sure we get right. Stop, go. When you come into the shop, stop, go. So we're trying to obviously just always improve on our service, and with partners like Namco, Pick and Pay, ONL, we obviously have the best backing that we can get for this endeavor.
What an exciting new pit stop along the coast. Now, in our story of the day, we look at Namibia's 4th International Energy Conference. Do stay tuned right after the break. Thank you for staying with Sunset News. Now let's take a look at our story of the day. Now Yolanda Nell takes a closer look at Namibia's 4th International Energy Conference taking place in April in the capital.
Namibia's International Energy Conference taking place in April puts a spotlight on leveraging the energy mix and the future of Africa's energy sector. The 4th edition of Namibia's International Energy Conference, NIEC, will take place on the 20th and 21st of April in Windhoek under the theme The Energy Mix, Positioning for Industrialization, Investment and Growth. The event is organized by Rich Africa Consultancy with the support of Africa Energy Chamber, and the 2-day energy sector event will be held under the patronage of the Ministry of Mines and Energy, led by Minister Tom Alwendu. The NIEC Thought Leadership event will convene energy stakeholders with investors and international partners to drive industry growth and development, as well as promote Namibia and Africa as a destination for energy investments. Participating companies, international investors, service companies, and various international delegations will share updates on exploration activities, renewable energy, and regional gas and other ongoing projects and announce future projects, while also highlighting upcoming business and investment opportunities. The conference will take a close look at global and continental energy perspectives and their impact, the latest development in the oil and gas industry, the status of the power and electricity market, the role of natural gas, as well as the future of renewables. It will also feature relevant topics such as financing the energy sector, infrastructure developments, and the African Continental Free Trade Area. Now, more than ever, Africa must lend its voice to the growing discourse on the continent's participation in the energy industry's broader value chain and sustainability. Keynote speaker Minister Tom Alwendu has continuously championed the development and growth of Namibia's energy sector and affirmed his support for the conference convening decision makers, industry leaders and experts to engage in meaningful dialogue around industry developments, commercial opportunities, strategic collaborations and investment promotions.
Now, in economic news after the break, we will focus on how local tourists are making a significant impact. To stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, welcome to another exciting edition.
Welcome back to Sunset News. Now, as previously mentioned, we take a closer look at how local tourists are affecting the tourist industry in our economic news. Now, during February 2022, 55.0% of the visitors at local establishments were Namibian. The number of Namibian citizens visiting nationwide establishments as a percentage of total visitors was recorded at 30.7% in February 2019 and 32.3% in February 2020. This share more than doubled to 68.1% in February 2021. Overall, a national occupancy rate of 22.5% was recorded in February 2022 compared to 18.5% in January 2022. This is exciting news for our tourist industry. Now, next up, let's look at our economic indicators. Now, the Namibian dollar is up against the US dollar and the euro and down against the Chinese yuan and the British pound. All stocks on the NSX held their ground. The overall and local indexes also closed on level ground. Looking at commodities, gold is down 0.4% and Brent crude oil is up 7.8%. After the break, we have a look at the weather. Do stay with us.
Have you received a loan from NSFAF? NSFAF loan is the same as any other loan. It must be paid and settled. NASFAF has a set of guidelines on how you can repay your loan and become debt-free. Therefore, it is important that you, a former beneficiary and a responsible Namibian, show your patriotism by helping pay back your loan and thus helping NASFAF become a revolving fund for the benefit of future potential students. By failing to pay back your NASFAF loan, you risk being blacklisted or having a court order against you. So arrange with the fund to pay back your loan today. For more information on how you can repay your loan, visit our website at www.nasfaf.na or visit our Facebook page or Twitter. Do the right thing and hashtag #paybackthemoney.
Welcome back to Sunset News. Now let's take a look at our weather predictions. Now the rain seems to have arrived in Windhoek, with the capital expecting a maximum temperatures of 26 degrees, while thunderstorms visit Oshakati with a minimum of 20 degrees. Partly cloudy conditions with some showers can be expected at the coast in Walvis Bay with a minimum of 18 degrees. Mariadale is the hottest in the country with a maximum of 34 degrees, and thunderstorms are expected. Now up next, we'll be taking a look at our international news slot. Now, the United States on Monday imposed sanctions on Sudan's Central Reserve Police Force for human rights abuse. More on this story after the break.
We know that violence against women and girls is pervasive everywhere in the world. So now imagine a conflict breaks out, or a natural disaster happens, or a global pandemic like the one we have seen since 2020 breaks out. Institutions are often focused on addressing this crisis. And in conflict settings, some of the institutions that are responsible for protecting women's rights collapse. The United Nations and UN Women work around the world to address some of these challenges. We make sure that women and girls who are victims of violence access services, including justice, health, psychosocial support, and reintegration. We also work to address the root causes that generate violence, for example, addressing harmful social norms and masculinities.
Welcome back to Sunset News. Let's take a look at our international news. Now, the United States on Monday imposed sanctions on Sudan's Central Reserve Police Force for human rights abuses. Now, the Treasury Department accused the CRP of being at the forefront of the crackdown on protests against military rule in the Northeast African nation. Now, since the October 25 military takeover, Sudan's Central Reserve Police has used excessive force and violence intended to silence civilian activists and protesters, Treasury Undersecretary Brian Nelson said in a statement. We condemn Sudan's security service for killing, harassing, and intimidating Sudanese citizens, Nelson said. Now, these actions are exacerbating the crisis in Sudan under the sanctions, and CPR assets in the United States will be frozen. Now, according to the Charlie Loden, an internal legal advisor to the rights group Redress, today's sanctions sent an important message that those responsible for the killing and injuring of peaceful protesters in Sudan will be held to account. Now, regular protests calling for the civilian rule have taken place since the military coup led by Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan on the October 25th, with heavy-handed crackdowns, leaving 87 dead, according to medics. Now, the October coup derailed a fragile power-sharing agreement between the army and civilians that had been painstakingly negotiated after the 2019 ouster of long-term autocrat Omar al-Bashir. Now let's take a look at the sports. In our sports news, we give you an update on South African Sports Association for Physically Disabled National Championship, the 2022 Rugby Africa Baths Under-20 Trophy, and the crowning of Namibia's chess champion. We'll tell you more about this right after the break.
Choose your Flex package with Paratus today. Sign up for ultra-fast fiber with the convenience of mobile LTE. That's 2 products in one bundle. It's new, it's one bill, and you can stay connected in more than one location.
For more information, visit paratus.africa/NA.
Always prepared. Paratus.
Welcome back to Sunset News. Now let's take a look at our local sports news. Now, Namibian para-athletes at the South African Sports Association for Physically Disabled National Championships have so far collected 22 medals in the competition and still counting. Now, a group of the 20 Namibian athletes are competing at the 2022 Toyota SASAPD Championships at the Germiston Stadium with countries such as Kenya, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Sierra Leone, Cameroon, and Botswana, as well as 9 South African provinces. Now, in our next story, the 2022 Rugby Africa Baths Under-20 Trophy will take place in Nairobi from 9 to 17 April. Organizers have confirmed. Now, unlike the 2021 edition, which had only 3 teams to participate, this year's event is set to attract 8 teams, namely Madagascar, Senegal, Tunisia, Zimbabwe, Ivory Coast, Namibia, Zambia, and Kenya. Now, the Baths Under-20 Trophy is the Rugby Africa Under-20 Championship. Teams compete on an annual basis, and the winners of the competition earn the right to represent the African continent at the World Rugby Junior Trophy. Now, chess master Charles Ichab clinched the Namibia Chess Championship title for the record-extending 8th time. Now, the 2022 Namibia National Chess Closed Championship took place at the Windhoek Showgrounds. Now, up next, we'll be taking a look at the highlights. To stay with us right after the break. Welcome back to Sunset News. Now, if you didn't get a chance to catch our top stories tonight, here are the highlights. Now, the past long Independence Weekend again brought numerous acts of violence with it. According to the Namibian Police Weekend Report, 4 murders and 4 attempted murders were reported. Now, one of the victims was a 51-year-old lady who was raped and subsequently murdered by a 27-year-old man. Also, an 18-year-old was reportedly stabbed in the neck by an unknown perpetrator in the north of the country. The victim died on the spot. Now, Judge George Coleman ruled in a judgment in the High Court in Windhoek that the arrest and detention of a homeless man of Swakopmund in February 2019 was unlawful. Now, he ordered the Minister of Safety and Security to compensate Gregory Gilbert Nwabab for the damages he suffered through his arrest and subsequent detention. Now, Nwabab was represented by Mr. A.G. Ellis of Ellis Attorneys in Swakopmund and Advocate Jack Gerber from South Africa. Now, Namibian para-athletes at the South African Sports Association for Physically Disabled National Championships have so far collected 22 medals in the competition and still counting. Now, a group of 20 Namibian athletes are competing at the 2022 Toyota SASAPD Championship. Now, with that, we've come to the end of our show. Thank you for staying with Sunset News. Make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook, on all the NMH platforms, on weekdays, as well as on our website, oneup2.com. Now, Sunset News screens on DSTV channel 285 and on GoTV channel 94 every weekday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. I am Glenn Rashipra, and this has been Sunset News. Don't end your day without us.